Hey everybody, this is your boy Rex Righteous, and this is my review for the movie All Eyes on Me. First of all, I want to say shout out to Mobb Deep, Prodigy, The Godfather, all those guys. R.I.P. to Prodigy, a very excellent poet, rapper, great artist. Um, it's so trippy, but I definitely want to give a shout out to The Godfather. I met him out here in Vegas. We chopped it up just on some normal stuff. I was just listening to some music passing by a club, and he was in there, and he was very nice to me. So I just want to give a shout out to him and his family. The Godfather is definitely a family member of Prodigy, and they're all from Queens and stuff like that. They're part of the lineage, and I just want to give those guys a shout out. Now, going back to the review, I want to just talk about it and just break down a few things. This is not going to be a Tupac fan uh, rant about why I didn't like it or whatever. This is just me breaking down the movie as a movie. That's it. I am known for being a Tupac fan. Everybody knows that I like Tupac a lot. I read a lot of his books and stuff like that, and I listen to all his music. I can basically say I've listened to almost every Tupac track. If I haven't, I'm not far off from hearing almost every single track. So, like I said, this is not about that. Um, this is just me breaking down the movie. So these are the three things that stood out to me. Okay, character development, which was very important in this movie, and in most movies, in all movies. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the beginning of the movie was very mixed and all over the place, and that's where they messed up. I feel like it was very jumbled, and they were trying to create like a track to his life. So basically, like something that has a base of where it all started. Um, it's not easy, I would assume. I went to a graphic design school and I learned a little bit of film writing and how to create scenes and you know the cut boards and all that. And I know it's not easy. And the one reason I would say it's not easy is because as soon as you start something, it's really hard to go back and delete everything and just start from scratch. Because when you start from scratch, it's the hardest part. When you're dealing with the middle, that's a little bit easier, but it's similar to the beginning. And doing the end is also trippy too. There's three parts of movies and stuff like that. The climax, the middle, which is the issue in the movie, and the beginning. The beginning is super important to me in a movie. It's what draws you in. It's very much like going to an interview with with a boss or with a job that you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important. People will leave the theater, just bounce. Um, so that's very important. Character development was kind of messed up by that, by the story being all mumbled and jumbled up. And I feel like they needed to just delete that damn interview out of the movie. Just the whole movie itself was pretty good. The acting was okay. Uh, there are some things that I felt like if Tupac was by himself in certain scenes, just by himself in a room, just chilling with no problems, it would have been easier like that. You know what I mean? Uh, but that would have been a lot better. You know what I'm saying? If he could have just had a scene where he's just by himself writing, and just show some of his inspirations, show that he looked up to uh, Public Enemy and guys like that, and how he liked LL Cool J. He had a song called Old School, so that's something that I would have liked. They had all rights to all his music, so they could have basically put any song in there, and it just would have been nice to just see him develop a song or put something together as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he did do California Love. You see him doing I Get Around and things like that, but I don't know. It didn't resonate, and I felt like the music that they use Like I put here, Tupac music was a scapegoat in the movie. It was literally that. It didn't tell a story. It was more like, I'm gonna use this song to make people dance in the theater, to make people happy in the theater. Like, hey, you remember this song? Like that kind of thing. And I really feel like if they were to have made kind of like the Temptations movie, where it's a 5 part movie or it's a 5 hour movie, but it's not really a 5 hour movie because they put it in parts, that would have been a lot better. It would have trended easier. A lot of people would have talked about it a lot more, and you would have had a lot of people rewinding certain scenes more and more and more and more and more, especially with this style of filming. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's bad. The style of filming wasn't bad, but when you use that interview as your template for the movie, it just makes you feel like, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, or just it's just a small spoiler alert. But there's a scene there that he's crossing the street and he gets doused by 2 cops, gets thrown on the floor, and these things happen. You know what I'm saying? But from what I understand, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can comment below if you're a Tupac fan. Is that happened in New York? That was not in Oakland, and that was in the daytime. But that's not the problem with the details of that scene. The problem with the details of that scene is that it didn't resonate with anything that was going on. Like it was just like, what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? And Tupac fans know what it is and why it happened and what was going on, but you got to still lead up to it. Like, was this guy going for? Was he gonna go buy some Hennessy? Was he gonna go buy some coffee? Why was he there? Who was he there with? You know, what was he about to do? How did he get there? Those are things that uh, I wanted to point out, and I thought that was all wrong. You know what I'm saying? The guy Dimitri Strip for the All Eyes on Me movie was excellent, excellent actor. They kind of dropped the ball on that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, just the way that they put the movie together. But I will say this: I will say that I think that the movie itself was a coming out party for this actor. There are some people that are gonna be hard on this movie. I really feel like uh, the one girl from Walking Dead was a perfect Afeni Shakur. She absolutely grabbed me and made me like her character a little bit more. Um, there's not much that I learned from her character, but I feel like on the movie aspect, it kept me like wanting to watch. The scene when she was buying some narcotics, and Tupac shows up and he's like, "What the fuck?" Like he's kind of like, "I can't believe you're still on this stuff. Why are you doing this?" And that whole scene was just very strong, super powerful. You know, um, and I felt like that part was great. A lot of the scenes with Tupac and Suge Knight, they were good too. I'm not gonna say that they were like weird or anything. They were good. Some of the Snoop Dogg scenes were kind of iffy, but at the most, he was very close to a Snoop Dogg back in the '90s. Um, I didn't think the movie was bad. Jada Pinkett was also good in there too. There were some scenes that I felt like were unnecessary, but it was still a good showing. I thought overall, um, they developed the characters the best way that they could, and they allowed hope to another Tupac movie, and that's exactly what I feel like they accomplished here. It was a coming out party for Dimitri Ship as an actor. We all have to remember, guys, this guy has never acted in his life before. He was literally called and called and called and texted and told to you know to act as Tupac in this movie, mainly because he looked like him. He couldn't help it, you know what I'm saying? So those things were very strong, and you know, those were the parts that kept people wanting to watch the movie because the guy looked exactly like Pac. And I feel like this guy that made the movie, L.T. Hutton, he was scapegoating a lot of stuff. So it's like, let's use this because we'll get this out of the people. Let's do this because, people will like this. You can't always go off of what you think people might react to something. You know what I'm saying? And as I said, the movie is not bad. It's not terrible. But, a lot of people expected more. One thing I would like to point out is this thing right here, this logo right here. This made you feel like something was gonna happen. Like it was a big deal. It made you feel like, man, Pac is back, or there's gonna be some type of special thing that comes out of this. With the cross in the background. That's very powerful for people from the neighborhoods, and they grew up listening to Pac or never even heard of Pac. Because I got a little brother that's the same way. You know what I'm saying? All these pictures and stuff, all these resemblance to the past and what we know as Tupac, it kind of drew us in, and it made us feel like, man, this might be a good movie. You know what I mean? And I'm not blaming them, but I just feel like they were very close. They got very close. Um, Years from now, we'll be okay with this movie being out, because if you just click and buy on your channels, on your TVs on your TV and stuff like that, and you see it, it's gonna make you happy that they have some kind of depiction of Tupac on the television, because there's nothing on TV like that right now. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see. I don't know why they got Kobe Bryant here. You're not gonna see anything like that, and a lot of times it's usually a documentary style, or this, like, this new way of trying to come up with who's the murderer, who's the killer, and for Tupac and Biggie Smalls. And I watched some of those videos, but the point is that that's something that you're supposed to be thinking, where you're like looking at files and seeing different people talk. This is a movie about Pac and his life. So if someone turns it on and they randomly catch it, it might teach them about Pac. Doesn't mean that it's all the way on point with his life, but it still might make you want to go Wikipedia some things or listen to a song here and there. And I think that part is dope. So overall, I give the movie 6.5. It had a lot of potential, but that's the max I could give it. It could be a 5. As a Tupac fan, I could give it a 5 or a 4, because there are some things that it's just like, why did you do that? It's a waste of time, complete waste of time. Some things didn't even happen, like when he got shot. There weren't cops on the scene right away. It was actually EMT, and people weren't helping him to the ground. It was the EMT. So those are the things that I know as a Pac fan that I feel that is more correct than what happened in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And they made it seem like he died right there in the streets. You feel me? And it wasn't sad. It was just like, damn, we lost a legend and he's gone now. It was more like just, there's nothing we can do type of attitude, when really there was a lot that happened after that. There was, Suge Knight, he was losing his stuff. There's the fact that Suge Knight was locked away in his house, and he didn't want to talk to anybody because he felt like a failure. He was like, damn, I got the biggest star with me, and I didn't protect this dude. And he almost lost his life as well. A bullet grazed his head. I mean, would you want to be in the street? You know what I'm saying? On some randomness, where one person saying, "Hey, Pac, how you doing?" and the next one just shoots you in the face. I mean, come on, man, that's not even cool. So that's, as a Tupac fan, how I feel. But as a movie review guy on YouTube, I give it a 6.5. I'm trying to put out some more I definitely have some more coming for you guys. I usually do this on camera, but I felt like it would be a little bit easier if I could just do a screen movie like this, and it makes it a little bit easier to break down. So last thing I want to point out is right here on this Google definition of character development. Character development may refer to character arc, the change of characterizations of a dynamic character who changes over the course of a narrative. Character creation, especially for games. Okay, so if they would have just built them up, build this guy. The way that they built him was off of events, and that's the part where I just feel like they could have totally killed this. I saw an interview with John Singleton. He said that when Spike Lee was making Malcolm X, he had Denzel Washington in that movie, and that's a great actor. There was people in the streets telling him, you can't mess this up. This is Malcolm X. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. And I really feel like he did feel that. He had 8 years to make the movie, something like that. So there's a part of him that just wanted to drop it. I feel like he just was just trying to drop the movie. You can sense that he was really just trying to put the movie out because there was a lot of parts of it that felt kind of rushed. But if he would have just taken his time with the beginning of the movie, he would have had an incredible movie. Just take your time with that intro, and it just would have went really far. But we all know that Pac's life was not just a flash in the pan. Yes, he was only famous for 5 years, but he was an incredible person. He was a full person. He was well-rounded. He also was a poet, a good person, and he was a human being. So, depict him, like just paint him up as a human being, But I don't want to get too much into it. Obviously, you guys either watch the movie or want to watch the movie or are Tupac fans, so you kind of know where I'm coming from. So I don't want to just keep hammering the same nail. I just want to come off and say that there is very much potential for another one. And if they can do like a Netflix type, I think it would be easy and it would be fast. Man, if one of these creators or something like that would just take that same actor, because that actor was really good, and I feel like he wouldn't mind getting a couple more millions off of just acting as Tupac, because he's the only one. You know what I'm saying? It's like being Heath Ledger when the Joker's character's out. They're gonna call you again. Because you're the Joker. You're that guy. It's the same thing with Captain America or Iron Man, Logan, Wolverine. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna keep calling Hugh Jackman. So they should keep trying to put this together, you know what I mean? And maybe that's the reason why I felt rushed. Maybe it wasn't perfected because it wasn't their last chance. It's not their last chance. It's more like to be continued, and there's more to come. Remember, Tupac has well more than 200 songs, well more than just a couple albums. He's even got a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, he's got so much to offer. So this thing is not going to die down. As a Tupac fan, I want to let you guys know that there's so much potential, with everybody being pissed off that the movie wasn't great. As the game says, you can't have Tupac in the Tupac movie. You know what I'm saying? So you got to just wait it out, see what happens, see how it goes, and don't freak out. You know what I mean? Don't freak out. Tupac is still that dude. His music will always live on, and that's just how the story rolls, man. So till next time, it's your boy Rex Righteous, and peace out.